Welcome to Smalltalk Daily for Thursday, July 2nd, 2009. This morning I'd like to pick up with the introduction to Web Velocity and take a look at how you find out how code works and explore the system. To get started, we're going to load the package we were working on yesterday, Hello World 2. And to load something, you just click on it and that'll pick the latest version. If there's more than one version, you'll see there's a little box here you can select on, and it'll show you the various versions that are out there so you can pick and load whichever one you want. In our case, we just have this one. Now, once you go to it, you select it, and then you can go to classes. In our case, there's only one, so we go there. And let's take a look at the source code. So I'm here in Render Content On, and let's say that I was kind of new to Seaside and Web Velocity, and I wasn't entirely certain how this Render Content On method worked. What I can do is I can right-click, bring up Messages, and select Render Content On. Now, instead of having to pick, do I want senders, do I want implementers, it'll give me kind of a unified look at this, and I can find all the implementers, just one in Hello World 2, and the APIs. Here's the scaffolding piece, which is part of Web Velocity, and here's the basic piece that's part of Seaside. Let's pick the basic one. And here I'm listed with the documentation. Now, in base Seaside, there's not a ton of documentation. This is picking out any of the doc that does exist. But at worst, I can always go here and say, heck with it, let's just browse the source, and it'll flip me over to browsing the source for that application. So now I'm in WA Presenter. I can go to the source code, and I'm back to browsing code instead of browsing documentation. So here's all the code. I can now go down and find Render Content On, and there it is. So I can look at stuff that way. Let's say that I wanted to just look up methods and I wasn't entirely certain, so I wanted to start typing render, R-E-N-D-E-R, and I hit return. What it's going to do is it's going to tell me there's a whole bunch of messages that look like this. There's even a class that has the word render in it. And I could pick any of these. So let's say that I was trying to figure out how the scaffolding worked in Web Velocity. I could select Render Actions On, and then it's going to show me, here are the APIs. It's in Collection UI, Edit UI, the Generic UI, and the View UI. So I can take a look, say, at the Edit UI and say, well, what happens there? And it's going to give me the doc. And again, if I didn't like the documentation view and wanted more, I can always flip over to browsing source. So I get both views here. So I can either, when I'm looking at code, I can go back to the top here, go back to my class here in Hello, and now in Render Content On. I can either bring up messages and look at all the implementers and senders of anything within this particular method, or I can just do ad hoc searches up here, and either way I get that kind of unified view. This is using the Searchlight technology that Michael Lucas Smith has demonstrated a few times from his blog and screencasts, and it works really nicely within the Web Velocity environment, nicely natively here in the browser. Works pretty much the way you expect search to work. So that's about it for today. Until next time, have fun with Smalltalk.